In the year 2000, Josh Hutcherson plays Mike Schmidt, a mall security guard who loses his job after punching a careless father whom he mistook for a kidnapper. His career advisor, Steve Raglan, played by Matthew Lillard, gives Mike a job as a night guard at Freddy's. Though hesitant at first, Mike accepts the offer after social services threaten to take custody of his younger sister Abby and hand her over to their estranged Aunt Jane, played by Mary Stuart Masterson, who wants the monthly payments that come with Abby's custody. Mike falls asleep and dreams about his brother Garrett's kidnapping in a flashback on his first night. He sees 5 children who witnessed it, and they run away as Mike approaches them in the dream. The next night, Mike experiences the same dream, but when he tries to confront one of the youngsters, he is attacked and awakens. Mike meets Vanessa Shelley, played by Elizabeth Lale, a police officer who notices his wounds and stitches him up. Vanessa takes him on a tour of Freddy's and informs him that it closed in the 1980s after 5 children went missing at the defunct establishment. After Mike departs his shift, a group led by siblings Max and Jeff breaks into Freddy's and vandalizes it on Aunt Jane's orders to dismiss Mike as incompetent and accelerate Jane's custody of Abby. During the break-in, the animatronic mascots of the restaurant, Freddy Fazbear, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and Mr. Cupcake, come to life and slaughter the vandals. Max was Abby's babysitter. Her absence forced Mike to bring her to his next shift. Based on some ridiculous video game, there is absolutely nothing to like about this dreadful, god-awful movie. The inciting incident, or catalyst if you will, in which our hero Mike takes the night guard job at Freddy's took several birthdays to get to, which Blake Snyder describes in his book, Save the Cat, as laying pipe. Simply put, the pipe is the setup for the story. As Snyder writes in his book, audiences can only stand so much pipe. He wasn't lying, especially for such a sleep-inducing movie. The characters had as much depth as a petri dish. They didn't even try to have a philosophical conflict, as almost every character's intentions were motivated by contradictions. These people were confused. Their desires changed more times than Hollywood trends. The story world was inconsistent and utterly absurd, with their thing of dead children's souls inhabiting animatronic mascots along with their bodies. So, we are to believe the robots also have children's corpses inside of them or some shit. What in the bloody hell? Was it supposed to be some crass attempt at horror? It wasn't scary at all. Not even a little bit. It was just laughable. Mike's biggest antagonist relied heavily on which desire he had at the time. Overall, the biggest antagonist might have been the mysterious owner of Freddy's, who turned out to be more mentally challenged and an even bigger nincompoop than Aunt Jane. The second biggest antagonist. You know when a movie is irredeemably bad when you start pitying all involved, especially the actors. The otherwise talented cast had to actually utter such atrocious dialogue. We found ourselves thinking, who in the bloody hell greenlit this thing? We also mourn for the many poor moviegoers who contributed to Five Nights at Freddy's $80 million opening weekend. Money well wasted. Just like Killers of the Flower Moon, expect to hear about this steaming pile during award season, not for Oscars, but for the Razzie Awards. We get, it was made for a particular fan base, but the fans deserve a much better story. We permit you to have us all committed if we were to recommend this tragedy to anyone, nuking it with a 1.8 out of 10. Five Nights at Freddy's has to be the worst movie we've seen so far this year. Do you agree with our take on this movie? Leave a comment, whether you agree or not. Maybe we can have a friendly debate. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. And if you want to see our future film reviews and essays, click the subscribe button and the notification bell for new videos. That's it for this episode. Next episode, we'll be back with a review of The Holdovers, where a grumpy history teacher, played by Paul Giamatti, at a rural prep school, is obliged to spend the holidays on campus to supervise a troublesome student who has nowhere to go. That's the next episode, and until then, we're signing out.